right, so in the previous video we managed to clean up our project and set it up for so that we can begin the actual development of the small system that we're building. Okay, so this time around we're going to dive right straight into creating our model class. Okay, so our business logic class, and well, we're just going to create it in the shared project. So you just going to right click your shared project and you say add. Okay, so this time when I say add, I can simply click here where it says class. All right, so we can simply click that. Okay, so our templates just load, but it's still just, since we selected class there, class is the one that's selected here. So class is supposed to be a C# class, which is .cs, and well, we can just rename this class to student. Okay, so simply say add, you can strike enter, or you can just press OK. All right, and then your class is going to appear. Okay, so our class has appeared. Now we can just okay, change that to public. All right, so it's supposed to be a public class. Okay, and then this time around we can simply just get rid of these namespaces. They're not really necessary for us, so you can just get that away. And okay, so we can simply just start creating our fields. Okay, so we first want to have a student ID, which is going to be a GUID. So we simply say PROP and you press tab twice, and yeah, it should appear like that. Then you can simply say GUID like that. Okay, so this is the data type we're going to use. You can press tab and you can go to student ID. Okay, you can type student ID like that. Okay, and then we can just press enter. Okay, the next thing we want is to have a first name, a last name, and a program. Okay, so we simply say PROP again. Okay, tab. So this one is going to be a string, first name, like that. We're just going to use Camelcas, and then we say PROP again. That's going to be a string. Okay, and that's going to be last name. Okay, so we simply say last name, and PROP, we simply say string again, and we're simply going to say that's program there. Okay, doesn't matter how you spell it, but yeah. So we simply are going to add something here. This is going to be our primary key. So a database needs, a primary key. So we're just going to use these kinds of brackets. Then we're going to type serializable here. Okay, sorry, this is a key, so we can simply just type key. Yeah, and then we're going to make the class serializable. Okay, so this just allows us to convert data from our database into objects and vice versa. Then that key we can change, we can add a namespace. So there's a namespace missing there that we have to insert. Okay, so using system.componentModel.data annotations, if it doesn't show, you can just type it manually there, and also maybe just make sure you added that NuGet package like I said in the previous video. And then the other fields are just going to be required, so we simply say required like that. And well, we can simply just copy this and paste it onto the other fields. Okay, like that. Okay, so this is what's going to be this is the class that's going to be holding our data. Okay, the student data. So we're going to have a GUID, which is student ID, a string first name, a string last name, and a string program. Now let's go ahead and create our connection string. So we go to the Solution Explorer under the server project in the app settings.json file. That's where we're going to create our connection string. Okay, so just be careful with the syntax here. So first things first, we're going to start with connection strings. Okay, so like that. Then next thing, we're going to add the name of our connection string. So we just want the name of our connection string to be student con string. Yeah, student con string, student connection string. Yeah, so something like that. Then we want to have a full colon there. Then we say saver. So the saver name, for the saver name, just go to your database management studio, open it, and then you're going to have, so if you're using Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, you're going to find it there. We just copy that, and then we just paste it. So we can, after copying, we can even get rid of this. We don't really need it anymore. Just go back to our Visual Studio. So there, that's where we're going to paste that. Okay, so we continue from inside there. Don't continue from outside there. Continue from inside in there. So you just say semicolon. Then now we want our database name. So the database name is coming from us now. We have to name our database something. So let's try to name it student database. Okay, so student database 1. Or just student database. I don't think I have a database named student database. So just to make sure, I'm going to name it student database DB. Yeah, something like that. Okay, then thereafter, we're going to add our other two parameters. That's trusted connection. So we just have to make sure it's a trusted connection. So it's very easy for us to gain access to the database because true. And we also want to just make sure the true is correct. We also just make sure we include multiple active result sets like that equals true. Okay, so I guess you can see what we've done there. And I guess you can see that there is no problem here. So you can simply just save. So save everything, you simply say Ctrl+Shift+S. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do is create what we call a database context class. So we simply go to our Solution Explorer. So a database context class is the one that's going to hold our data sets. Okay, so we have to register a data set in there. So we simply just go to the Solution Explorer. In our server project, we say add, and what we want to add is a class. So the name of this class, I want it to be app DbContext. All right, DbContext, like that. Okay, and we're simply just going to say add. All right, so there we have our application DbContext. These namespaces are not going to be relevant. We're going to add two relevant namespaces. So remember, in our server project, we installed Microsoft Entity Framework Core. Now we just have to put a using statement there. So Microsoft .entity framework core. So that one right there. And then we're also going to add another using statement. So we simply say using Blazor learning Blazor shared. All right. So shared there. Okay, so I'm going to explain why we need these specific namespaces. So first things first, in order for us to use some of the members of Microsoft Entity Framework Core, we first need to have a using namespace. Things like okay, let's type the following statement so that you can see. So before that, actually, we also need to derive this class from DbContext. Okay, so that's one of the uses of why we put the using system there. So I guess you can see it has, after typing DbContext there, it has actually changed from being dim. It was dimmed out, but now I guess you can see the change there. So yeah, okay. So here we're simply saying up DbContext. Okay, and we simply use our brackets there. So we say DbContext DbContext options. Okay, so we simply do that, and then this time around we want to call the app DbContext, and we're simply going to say options. All right, so options right there, and then here we're going to need a full colon and say base options. Okay, like that. So just type this the way it is. All right, and we do that. Okay, next thing, we want to register a dataset. So we're simply going to say public. We say dbset. That's the type. So dbset student. Okay, so student is the class that we created in our this student here. Okay, so that's the student that we're calling there, which is in learning Blazor dot shared. So that's the student that we are creating here. That's the one that we're going to call here. So student, and thereafter we simply say get set. Okay, so I guess you can see that this has actually been activated now. It's no longer been dimmed out. So if we look at that, it's actually, if we go there, it's actually telling us to say this is belonging to the student dot shared, the shared project. Okay, so this time around we're going to register this database context that we created here, which is called app DbContext, in our startup class. So our startup class is found in the server project in the startup. Yeah, just directly there at the start. So you simply go to your configure your configure services method, and then you simply type in the following code. Okay, so services dot add DbContext. Okay, and I'm going to do that. So what's the name of our DbContext? It's app DbContext. All right, then thereafter we're simply going to say options in there, and that sign there. Okay, so just press enter just to make it look okay. All right, so this time around we want to open our curly braces, and then we'll do that again. Let's just terminate this in advance. Okay, and then we're going to say options dot use SQL saver, and we're going to say configuration. Okay, dot get connection string, and we're going to open a bracket or get connection string. Okay, wants us to type in manually connection string. Okay, so I think there's just something wrong that I've done. Okay, let's just continue. Okay, so it was just waiting for us to try to pass in a string there, and then let's just terminate there as well. Okay, so now inside here we're going to put in the name of our connection string. So I guess you can see get connection string, the name of our connection string. So let's just go back to app settings.json. Okay, so if it's not on top there, you simply go back to Solution Explorer, app settings.json, and that's the name of our connection string. So we're just going to copy that and put it in there. Okay, and that's exactly how we do it. So I guess you can see so far so good. There are no issues found. We can simply say Ctrl+Shift+S to save everything, and now let's create our migrations. Okay, so our migrations are simply instructions containing it's simply a file containing instructions that are going to be used to create our database. So let's quickly go to tools. We go to our NuGet package manager, and we say NuGet package manager console. Okay, so that we have the console there, and quickly we're going to type add migration. So add migration, and then we give it a name. So we want to give it the name initial. All right, like that, and we can simply strike enter. So our project will build, and after the build succeeds, we're going to see something that is automatically going to appear, and that's going to be our migrations. Okay, so I guess you can see our migrations have actually appeared. So when you go to our server project, we're going to find a folder called migrations. Okay, so that's those are the files that you should see in there. Yeah, after your migrations have successfully run, we're going to run another command, and this command is going to be update database. And this command is simply going to create a database that is called student database DB, like that. All right, using the instructions as given using the migrations. Okay, so we simply say update dash database and strike enter. So it has to build again. When the build succeeds, it's going to create a database, and we are going to be able to see that database in our database management system. All right, so I guess you can see when it's done, it actually just tells us straight there, done. Okay, so after a build succeeds, then it has to finish. So if you have any errors, you can try to just drop them in the comment section below. I think there isn't really anything complicated. Maybe just because of a typo and all that. So I guess you can see how our migration looks. It contains the up and down methods for creating our database. Okay, so let's go to our database management studio and try to see whether this database now exists, and whether what tables exist. Okay, so we expect to find a table called student. Okay, this student here, which was actually put in our DB context there. Okay, we made a data set of student. Okay, so these data sets are the ones that are going to be converted into our table. So if we had let's say three model classes, we had student, we had lecturer, or anything else, we would have created a database, a data set for them as well. Okay, so now that we only just want one table, so we're just going to create one data set there. Okay, so let's go to our Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio and see whether the database has been created. Okay, so when our management studio runs, we can simply say connect. And we just wait for it to connect. So after it connects, we're going to have something like this, and we can just expand databases. Okay, when our databases appear, I guess we can see we have student database DB. Okay, so it's right there. We can expand that as well, so that we can view the tables that we have in our database. Okay, we expand tables as well. Okay, so after expanding tables, I guess we can see we have two tables, and the one of interest is this one, the student table. So we simply right click our student table, so dbo.student, and then we say select, actually edit top 200 rows. Okay, so I guess you're going to see that our table is actually empty because we don't have any data yet. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to be creating what we call our data repeater component. So to know more about that, you can visit the next video. See you there.